Hello everyone, this is In-Game Arts with another boxing and an offline product game review. This is Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 for the PlayStation 4, but being played and tested on my PlayStation 5. To jump right into it, this physical copy here just claims it's just a base vanilla version of the game, so the on-disc version is 1.0. Now we know this can't possibly be true, because at the time of this video there were no updates available, and as well as that this Ultimate PS4 version comes with all current release DLC on disc, which is extremely nice to see, and as well, I was still unlocking trophies with my unregistered account. Now, there has been several versions of Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and it is easy to forget that this game originally launched on like the Xbox 360 and the PS3 era. And while there was multiple releases, there were like the first release just called Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and then they had a PS3 version called Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 that does not come with anything on the disc. It's just a base vanilla version of the game. While this PS4 version was a GameStop exclusive, this does come with all current released updates that got released for PS3 now on this PS4 version, and as well all DLC characters as well as alternate outfits are on this Ultimate Edition as well. So this is the most updated, most complete version of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which is extremely nice to see. Now, there wasn't really any issues. I played a good majority of the game. I made this statement multiple times. I'm not the biggest when it comes to fighting games, and I'm not going to run through every single character, unlock every possible ending, unlock every kind of little detail. But I did play a good portion of the game, and as well as I was unlocking quite a few little things here and there. Now, it's just your bread and butter fighting arcadey style game where it's all about juggling your opponent, and you got a three-man tag team kind of style. And as well, obviously, it's Marvel versus Capcom. And what's funny is I remember when this game first came out, a lot of people were not too happy about it because it didn't live up to the expectations of what Marvel vs. Capcom 2 put on the groundworks, because many people still consider that the greatest fighting game of all time. Now, it is funny because I remember all the hate this game got, but then later the newer Marvel vs. Capcom game, I never played it, so I don't have no opinion of the game, but I just know a lot of people were disappointed with it. So it kind of gave that idea of like a lot of people look back at Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and thought, you know what? I was maybe a little too harsh on Marvel vs. Capcom 3. But for me, I'm not a fighting game enthusiast, so I don't know what qualifies as a good fighting game and what doesn't. I'm just not really into the whole button combinations, rotating joysticks, or hitting buttons at certain angles to be able to do certain moves. I'm just not really into that. My philosophy is, why can't I just push one button to do this? But in the end, it's maybe just me, and who knows, maybe it is one of those, I need to get good. I get it. Maybe I'm just not good at these games. But I still enjoyed the game. The game's flashiness, the characters, the overall gameplay is all top-notch, and it looks good, feels good. The gameplay's frame rate stated as perfectly smooth, 60 frames per second, and the overall experience was just enjoyable for me. And like I said, it's just fun to see all these characters from Capcom's library and Marvel's library come together against each other. It's a very unique experience, and with that tag team system, I'm a little iffy on it. Sometimes it's kind of cool to have the tag team. Sometimes I'm more into just one-on-one than having these random people that can pop out on the screen and do an attack. Sometimes it's a little, I don't know, frustrating to be like you're dominating someone and then all of a sudden like this random person hops out and destroys the entire momentum you built up. But the game does have some interesting modes. It does have like a card collecting where you slowly like go battle out whether good or bad. And you can slowly unlock cards that just allows ability upgrades to your playthrough. And in terms of the story campaign, you have your typical arcade mode where you can eventually fight Galactus, as well as you have multiplayer like practicing, as well as missions where you got to do special moves for every character. So there's a slew of content. Disappointingly, there is no survival mode. That's one of my favorite modes in terms of when it comes to fighting games. So that was a little disappointing on the fact that there is no survival mode. But I do want to point out only one real flaw I had with the game, and that is that the HUD, for me, is quite big. When you're fighting, that big old life bar and then your power meter at the bottom of the screen, it does take up a lot of real estate on the screen. Thankfully, you can go in the options and move it. That's what I did. I rose like the health as high as I could be, where I could see all health, and lowered the power bar as low as I can so I can still see the power bar. It definitely made the game look a lot better because in reality, we're all here to look at the fighters, the gameplay, and the smoothness of it. I don't want to see constantly health bars and meters going off everywhere. So it's really nice at least you can move it, but that is mostly the complaint that I have with the game. Everything else, I don't know. I don't play fighting games enough to be able to judge what is the problem. Now, obviously, there's always those meta characters, the characters who most professional fighting game people will tell you that are the best characters. From what I can gather from looking it up online, the best character is Dr. Doom. Don't know why or how or what he provides that other characters provide. Don't know, I'm not a fighting game enthusiast. But I do want to point out one quick thing in case you are confused. When you eventually start playing the game, you unlock points, and eventually you will unlock Galactus. Now, Galactus can only be played in arcade mode, but I want to let you know how to play him when you eventually unlock it. It's a certain amount of points. I think it's like 300,000 points or something like that, around that ballpark. But what you got to do is that you got to go over to arcade mode. Highlight over arcade mode. Do not pick arcade mode. Just move your cursor on top of it. And then hold the L1 button. And then hold the options button. And then press the X button. Once you do that, you go into the special mode where you get to play as Galactus. And then you can beat the arcade mode and lock Galactus's ending campaign thing. I want to let you know that because it is, I mean, they only pop up once, and I was looking around, I couldn't find it anywhere else telling you how to do it, and as well as that they tell you to use the select button to hold down, and, well, you know, PlayStation 5 does not have a select button, but all you gotta do, like I said, just highlight over arcade, hold L1, hold the options button, then press X. It's a little finger twisting to try to adjust your fingers to hold all those buttons and press the X button, but hey, at least you can still play him. Now, this was, like I said, I'm not a big fighting game, but this was still fun. It's still amazing to have this physical copy, and it's very interesting to see fighting games before nowadays, where they release like 5 to 8 DLC characters and charge outrageous price money for that, and then have all these season passes and like microtransactions. When you look at Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I think it only had like 2 DLC fighters, 1 alternate outfit for almost every character, and that's about it. So it was very interesting to see. A lot of people were probably very frustrated with this game, but when you see it now, it's like, man, we let so much slide nowadays when we let all the DLC and all the missing content in fighting games or just any other games, and you see this game and it pretty much was a complete package right out the door, and it doesn't have any microtransaction, no online requirements or anything like that. You can just sit down and enjoy the game. It's just interesting to see the old times, and the game still looks good, plays great, and it's very interesting that it is disappointing that it is becoming quite rare to get the physical copy of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, the Ultimate Edition for PS4, because, like I said, it was a GameStop exclusive in the past, and I don't know if it's the rarest PlayStation 4 fighting game, but it's definitely up there for like 100, over 150. Some places are trying to sell it for $200 for a physical copy. It's getting up there, and I don't know if it's going to ever get any cheaper than that. I mean, it'd be cool to see a remaster of it or something like that on PlayStation 5 or something like that, just to be able to get more copies out there, and that way it doesn't become a scalper's dream case to try to take a bunch of money from people. But any day, I'm really glad to have this physical copy. It's one you should look for. It's everything you would come to want from a physical copy. All updates on disc, all DLC characters on disc, and the game fully works and functions completely offline with an unregistered account. You can't be more happier than that and want anything better than that. So to me, it is the perfect physical copy to get. So like always, I will try to leave links down in the description if you're instant copying. Obviously, if you can get a copy at a reasonable price that you're comfortable with getting, don't pass it up, because it's one heck of a collection of game to have on your shelf. So like always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next unboxing video. Bye bye.